What is that thing you're doing?
It's technical. It's one of our little toys. Something is different.
Good friend.
Anything different is good.
Go ahead. Meatballs is leaving.
Backhouse man. I'm a scientist.
What's always a question of good? You only think about the bad. I just have a feeling that something is wrong. Good things do happen.
Make it Centauri time.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Groundhog Jungle with your hosts Alex Hillman
and Matthew Fleming.
Now I've used the word hosts there.
Yeah. Are you happy with that? You're not happy with that?
I've never used it before, but now I'm using it and it's fine.
Essentially, you want to sort of lean forward and re-record. Is that there was a moment where you were like,
I'm not going to re-record. I don't think we're going to go with hosts. We're your hosts.
Good. Hello.
Now in episode 3, I forgot to say our names, which is not good because continuity does not work. However, we have managed to mention penis each episode.
Yes.
So
and that's technically another time, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's a kind of meta penis.
We've done it now.
Yeah, but that is a penis.
It's like a sci-fi movie, isn't it? Like one of their C movies. It's like a movie of a penis that's also made of metal that starts to attack
could be
women.
that, although that'd be metal penis, wouldn't it? But anyway,
no, they go meta shark, don't they? They say they've used meta as a thing, don't they? Do they?
I don't know. Anyway,
can I speak about podcast 1?
Yes. Well, I was going to do a self-referential thing.
Right. Okay. I've got something to say.
So before you talk about that, numerous things happened in the week. In order to improve this listening experience for the listeners, all 53 of them for the first episode, which, believe it or not, surpasses our expectations. I believe YouTube has a system where it doesn't count re-watches or something, so that is 53 new people, I think. I think
not me
so.
53
but even so, I have listened to each episode about 2 or 3 times. Very aware of how camp I sound, which is a surprise, if anything.
See, I thought you were the manly one. I was the camp one.
No, but maybe it's just me listening to myself. But that I sound a bit weird. And also, we spent an entire episode referring to the Ruttles as the Rootles. I have watched some of the Ruttles since, and in the single clip I watched, which coincidentally started with Bill Murray, they must have said the word Ruttles about 5 times. And that was in one clip.
So it's Ruttles.
It's definitely Ruttles.
This is our Guardian sort of apologies, corrections notice.
But other than that, I'm very happy with how the 3 went out. I've spent an inordinate amount of time doing the credits for it. Hours.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that they're out now and some are listening to them. I don't really know why. It's not a good omen that there are 53 that have seen the first episode and only about 17 that have seen the following 2, because that tells me that people have not been clinched.
This one might have like minus.
Yeah, that'd be weird. How does that work?
It doesn't.
With them
So they take
delivering
it back.
to
They
us?
email YouTube and they say, "Please, can you remove all evidence that I was ever here?"
That would just be 0. That wouldn't be one.
Oh, no. We've had a comment about podcast 1 from a listener. I'm going to call him my dad.
Right.
And this listener, codename my dad, has got an amendment to make, or an addendum.
Yes.
To make to our discussion in the first podcast about porn theatres, I suppose, and about the sort of people that went. He remembers this person, my dad. Quotation marks, my dad, whatever. He remembers going there, not to one of these. He went to see a horror film with his friends, so he says.
Right, yeah.
And he remembers, men with definitely traditional dirty mags coming out of the cinema. Odd noises he describes, horrible noises, and sticky floors and stuff.
I wasn't far off the mark.
You weren't. Apparently, it was exactly like that, and he's talking about it at a very similar time to Peter was animating. So
I mean that doesn't surprise me. I still am mystified as to why anyone would go there to masturbate.
Yeah,
but they did. But I suppose because they didn't have anything at home.
Yeah, that's sad.
Maybe magazines.
Flash a few years later, and people were making. Should we talk about today's film?
Yes. So today we are covering the first, I would say, famous film of the list. We obviously later on get to much more famous films because Bill Murray is probably an A-lister and has been in many famous films. But this is a famous film, not as famous as some of his very well-known films, but it is Meatballs, and most people have heard of that film.
And you know what, curiously, I think if you get most Bill Murray fans and they'll name their 10 favourite Bill Murray films, because it's such a prominent role in it, it's such a star-making role, they would choose that. It might be number 10 or 9, but it wouldn't be at the top. But it's still a popular. Lots of people love this film.
Lots of people love this film. And obviously the team that made it went on to make Ghostbusters,
which I find extraordinary. So this is 79.
Yeah.
So 5 years later, they were making Ghostbusters. The same director. You look at this. The directing is so lackadaisical. It's just thrown together. It's lovable and shambolic, but it is not. It hasn't been directed really. It's just been made. Not even made really.
It's not an awful film.
No,
I think we gave it.
But going from that to the special effects laden Ghostbusters, how you could do that.
Yeah.
Well done, Ivan Reitman.
It's absolutely, and it is weird comparing the two. I think it's worth remembering that Ivan Reitman went on to do much later Road Trip, which in tone is very similar. And obviously there is a sort of mini frat boy inside Ivan Reitman. By that I don't mean he's being sodomised.
With what part of his anatomy? The other person's anatomy. I mean,
but he isn't,
no.
And we're very cautious with regards
we do need to
specifying anything like that.
But what Road Trip had that this film doesn't have?
A heart.
No,
although this sort of does, doesn't it?
A plot. I think.
Yes. Road Trip's quite good. I quite like it.
I watched Meatballs again this week, and it's okay. And it's I agree with our Mark, which we'll get to. It's just it doesn't. Things happen, but not really. I mean, it's half a sports movie, so he's going to go on to make a couple of really famous sports movies, Kingpin and Caddyshack particularly.
Yeah.
This is pretty much, I don't know if you remember how much of a sports movie this is, that there's a couple of pivotal matches that the plot hinges around. There's a race, there's like a sort of basketball match, there's something else at sea. Basically, they're always, because they're at camp, they're always doing some sort of activity.
Yes.
It's pretty much a sports movie in that mould.
I suppose it is. I don't really think of it like that, but the more you say it, the more it makes sense. It is basically a summer camp movie as well, isn't it? And that actually is quite a few of them. Wet long what is it?
Wet long American
summer.
Wet long hot American.
Yeah, of which there's been a film and a TV series. And
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th was the other one that was occurring to me. But they are summer camp films. I'm sure there are others. American Pie has got 2, I think, has got a big section American summer camp. But it's something that appears in films. If it seems like I'm struggling to make a point, I'm really not. My point is that that's how I think of it, and obviously it's got the sports aspect in it as well. But Matt is right. There does seem to be a lack of story, and I think this film has aged poorly.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of films that came out like it since it, Porky's being another one, is quite similar, and then much later American Pie and all that sort of stuff. This is not as crude as those, but it's not aged well because it's obviously very obviously made in the late 70s, and some of the humour, which I mentioned in the review, is questionable.
There is a character called Spaz.
Yes.
That's his name. There's never any attempt that he has got a different name. He's just called Spaz.
Yeah.
He wears glasses. He's got sellotape covering his glasses. Comically, it's not really sellotape, it's band tape. And his dad looks exactly like him. When he pulls up in the car, he looks exactly like him. He's got the masking tape in the middle.
Remember it well.
Hey, Spaz. And Spaz ends up on a boat with a woman who's sort of adjusting the bikini, going, hey, Spaz, can you run some more in the tan line?
There's silly things like that, and the DJ Qualls character in Road Trip is basically Spaz, except he's given a name that doesn't rankle.
No. Unlike
there's
DJ
also
Qualls.
he was in a Britney Spears video incidentally.
Yes, he was. Boys, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
At the beginning.
Now
everyone in this is fairly odd looking. They're really odd looking.
In Boys or in Meatballs?
Both. But this, no one looks... It's odd because we went from sort of 70s movies where a lot of people looked sort of very human and sort of rough and not very film or photogenic. We had a very sort of shallow 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And now I think, hopefully, you get a lot of people sort of naturalistic looks again. Hopefully it's starting to happen. But it's odd to see... Everyone in this film looks so odd. They don't look sort of Hollywood. The women aren't Hollywood women. The men aren't Hollywood men. Everyone's got an odd look. Bill Murray's the only normal one.
But again, he's not your typical Hollywood actor look either. I mean, I always think Bill Murray kind of has the everyman look, but it's probably attractive because of it. And we've talked at length about the attractiveness of Bill Murray in the last podcast. But I think, very dated. There is a line in it which I quote in the review, something like he's talking about a 14-year-old here. He says something like she's got the equipment, and the ambition but not the drive, or something like that, obviously referring to sex. Now, if you put that in a film now, it would never get a general release. I mean, you're effectively referring to the sexualisation of a child. So that's weird. So that's in that.
What is
and
this?
then,
Is this a PG? It's not, is it?
No, I think it's
12,
a
probably.
I don't think... I don't know. But it shouldn't be a PG. The other thing that's weird about it is that I think it was probably marketed with a lot of sort of sex appeal.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the front cover, and I went into this in great detail in the review.
Brilliantly.
And I'm trying... Yeah, thank you. And I'm trying not to sort of rehash it. But Bill Murray's got the oddest face in it. He seems to have the stature of a giant, and he's surrounded by bikini-clad women, which leads you to believe that the film is like a sort of TNA film. It really isn't. I think most of the women in it are quite, as you say, quite normal looking, and are not remotely promiscuous, are they particularly?
No,
the promiscuous characters are the peripheral characters.
Yeah, the few that are allowed to sort of parade... I say allowed, that's a wild phrase. That parade around in a bikini.
Yeah. They're not the main characters.
No, they're shallow, they're just there as I can.
Yeah.
They don't take up much film time.
So they've obviously... But then they do that in films now.
It's a 12.
It is a 12, okay, yeah. It wouldn't have been a 12 at the time. It must have been re-certificated. That's not a word. Certificated? Anyway,
I don't know.
It's not without its positives, though.
No, gosh, Bill Murray's in it. He's both the best and the worst thing about it in some ways.
Yeah.
Because it's Bill Murray and he's brilliant and it's clearly a star-making vehicle, but because it's a star-making vehicle for him, they forgot about the plot. They've gone, hey, it'll be funny in this. There's that improvised scene, isn't there, that we loved? And I think improvised. I wrote down, what was it? He says, it's where he keeps shouting something. What does he keep shouting?
Sorry, you keep talking while I continue to record.
Okay. Where he keeps saying...
I've just got to make sure I change something. Sorry, go on.
He keeps shouting, it just doesn't matter.
Yes.
It just doesn't matter.
Yes.
By the end they're all chanting and stuff, but at the beginning they're all laughing. He's just riffing and stuff, and they're all like naturally laughing because he's just making it all up. I think he's got an end point that the scene's got to get to, but they've said just go with it.
Yeah.
And it's a masterclass in improvisation and in acting. But his character is odd. His character is Tripper Harrison.
Yes. Which sounds a lot like Topper Harley from from Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2. Two films I absolutely love, by the way, but we're not talking about that. So let's get back to Bill Murray.
We'll get to Charlie Sheen in good time.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, absolutely. Bill Murray is great in it, and it really does make you appreciate Bill Murray for as an actor.
He's got a swagger. He's got a really good swagger in it. There's a line where he says something like, Yasser Arafat's going to fly in, hang out with the kids, where he's just lying to this guy saying what's going to happen at the camp, and he's just making everything up.
Yeah.
And you're sort of in safe hands with him then. He's just speaking bollocks, but you sort of want to watch him for a long time.
It's fascinating. I mean...
But you don't care about his character, I don't think.
No.
Which is odd.
It's a weird performance. It's a good performance. And like you say, there's some bad aspects to it as well. It's an inexperienced performance from someone who isn't an actor. And I think, obviously, he is a star because he's a very talented actor, very funny, and we love him, obviously. I think there must have been some sort of semblance of that eking out at this point because he's gone on to such success since then. But you can see it. But he's just not very honed.
Yeah.
There's it's like a kind of a sketch of a character, really. He's not an actor, clearly. He is just reading lines, but he's reading lines in an interesting way.
Appropriate you say that, because this is exactly what I wrote down on first watch. I didn't spot this, but on second watch, what I spotted was that he's not always aware of where the cameras are. He's in this film. He's come from Saturday Night Live, where there's always the same camera in the same place, maybe 2 or 3 changes, but not as detailed as the film. Remember the other films? I mean, he was only in 2 of them. They were single shots, pretty much. Yeah. This one. He's required to do more and be more and be out and about and stuff, and there's a lot of scenes where he's inside and he doesn't quite know where it is, he doesn't quite know where to project, and you can tell he's acting.
I think it's fair to say that it is an experience. He'd never done any stage work, really. He was a comedian put in front of the camera, but there you go. I mean, that happens all the time, and he wasn't the first to do it, and he won't be the last, and it does work. Just about, but it is not a great film. But it does make you laugh in places.
Yeah.
Although I must be honest, I can't. If I to pick a part that really, really makes me laugh, I'd be struggling.
Yes, it's
not laugh out loud. It's just it's a giggle.
Rewatching it, I did not laugh at anything that Bill Murray wasn't in or said.
Right.
Right. So it's only him. He's the only thing. All the other characters, they might as well not be there. There's a line where, do you remember, he's the plot, such as it is, it's flimsy, is he befriends a kid called Rudy, who's at summer camp, who just moons around a bit and is supposed to be sad, but he's not given anything to do, and Bill Murray's character just chats to him and stuff.
Yeah.
But his first line to him is, "Hey, you must be the short, depressed kid that we ordered." And that's funny.
Yeah.
And the way in which he delivers it is great, and so just everything's set up in order to make Bill Murray say something funny, which is both, like I say, the good and the bad thing.
It's kind of it's like a kind of a vehicle for Bill Murray to actually
It is a
be
vehicle,
funny.
yeah.
It is a vehicle. I believe. Do you have a clip or something?
I had something. Yeah. I'll wait for this to load up because it's. I don't know. If, we can't mention apps and things, can we?
Because I don't think so.
No. Well, this thing that I'm using to access the film doesn't. It's a clip I wanted to. It might be quite hard to set up the thing. There's a thing I wanted to show you a clip of his dancing. Okay. This is really going to translate to a podcast, isn't
it? Do you want me to describe the dance?
You could describe the dance.
Okay. If you kind of angle it so I can see it.
Yeah. So was I not doing that?
No.
This is
that's fine.
terrible.
So at the moment we're on 81%. So in a minute there's going to be a dance that Bill Murray does.
Yeah. It's a bit like there's a scene where one of the things where this film is so inconsistent, right, is because. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. This film is so inconsistent because he just.
This is flawless.
He has a right.
Oh, here we go.
Look at this.
So, remind me of the. I forgot how much of a mullet he has in.
Yeah, he's got a big mullet. Yeah.
Right. So
look at this.
He is dressed like a kind of urban cowboy. He's now strutting and moving his fists
sort of towards himself. Now he's doing sort of.
So this is a dance. Now he's doing an upside down mask face, and now he's doing a bird flap across his neck.
Now he's
beckoning with his fingers, and the camera's completely on him. Yeah. It's a single camera. He is beckoning to someone, is he?
Yeah, to the girl he's with, if you remember. He's with
single camera on him.
This girl called Roxanne.
Now, did you have a point to make about that clip?
My point was just, it's funny, I think. And it's good. I wanted to comment on Bill Murray dancing. Also, incidentally, in this film, he also plays something that might be a ukulele, but I couldn't quite see, and he sings. It's the first time he does any of all of these things.
That's good, because these things happen a lot.
Yeah. But I look at the dance he could have done there. He could have done something airplane-esque.
Yes.
He could have done and it is funny what he does.
Yes.
But maybe he doesn't go too far at the same time as well. It's a film that's a little bit in between. It's got a nice punk spirit, but it's not.
It's not it's just not very polished. I mean, it's just so weird that it ended up
sedate.
Very sedate.
Compared to Ghostbusters, direction as well.
Wait, sorry, I kicked you. It makes me wonder if they were on something when they made it, because it seems so unedited.
Yeah.
We just saw Bill Murray do a 30-second dance. And also, like you say, it really does feel like he's not being filmed.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like we're looking at someone almost in a documentary. I'm not sure that's the aim they were going for.
The script as well, there's a bit. So at the end of this scene, or just shortly afterwards, I think it's heavily implied that he's had sex with a fellow counsellor.
Yes.
And then they go into the water and skinny dip and stuff and kiss, and that's all very, titillating stuff at the time.
Yeah.
Then the scene afterwards is him coming back to the bunk and talking to Rudy and him saying, "Oh, you like her, don't you?" And Bill Murray saying, "No, I'm not even sure I do." And you think, but they've just had sex. So was this scene filmed earlier? Is he trying to be all nonchalant in front of the boy? It's not clear, and I think probably.
Well, I think possibly, and I'm trying to remember the context of the scene you've just described, but I think possibly it might just be that in 1978, 79, he could have just got away with saying that and it be not a big deal.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is sad, in a way.
It is. Women are not respected, really, in this film. They're given some screen time, bless the producers and writers and stuff, but...
It's not... No, I know what you mean. I also didn't realise that his hair... seeing that clip was reminding me that his hair was so long. He often had long hair.
He did, yeah.
And
we're not at kingpin proportions yet, though.
No, but I'm not quite sure it was advisable because, he was already starting to thin, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hair-wise. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him with a thick head of hair.
No, he possibly has never, ever had one. That's depressing. It's like me.
No, you have.
Have I?
Yeah.
When? Don't tell me when, because then I'll know it was past.
Well,
now, don't say it because I know I don't.
No, your hair's looking lovely.
Well,
now.
Thank you. Now I've pressed you into all that, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, I am going grey actually.
Are you?
Yeah.
I cannot tell. Really?
No, it's just a few flecks of hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my cousin is about 8 years older than me, and he's completely grey.
It's Philip Schofield.
I don't think Philip Schofield is 41.
No, he isn't, is he? But he has produced
I don't know,
Paramore's
15
debut
years.
album before he took a shit on the road.
In joke that next to no one would get.
Yeah, no, you won't get it now, but yeah.
So we're going to have to wrap this up soon.
I wanted to say something about how...
Very soon.
Yes, okay. It's very dated. I took... there's a line, "Are you a homo what?" When Spaz... when Spaz... crawls away from the girls reading an erotic story that some boys are eavesdropping on. I mean, that sentence tells you enough about this type of film, doesn't it? It's... I've watched it twice now, and I wouldn't recommend anyone watch it twice, but at the same time, I didn't have a terrible time rewatching it. No. Maybe I learned some things about it, but it very much is what we said it was, and I'm going to look up whatever that was, because I don't have it.
Well, I think we gave it a higher score than you might be anticipating.
Did we?
If you could predict the score, what would it be?
I think we both said 6s.
I think it might be 6.5.
It could well be.
And as I've mentioned in the previous podcast, we are quite generous scorers. Yeah. I don't know if you would rate it like that now, would you?
It's not a... what did we give Next Stop Greenwich Village? Which we did...
6.
We both gave it 6.
So we're saying it's better than that?
I definitely would say it's better than that now, because it's more entertaining.
Okay.
And I think I'd probably rather a comedy over a drama for rewatch.
But I think it's only more entertaining because Bill Murray's the star.
Yes.
And obviously we're big Bill Murray fans.
We both... Would you like me to reveal the scores?
Yes.
We both gave it 6.5.
Yeah, I thought
Which is an average of 6.5 out of 10.
Thank you, Carol.
Which is our second highest reviewed film
to
far. To date.
Next up, and we really mean next up, because we're going to be recording this right now. I believe it's Mr. Mike's Mondo Video.
Yeah.
Which I've been looking forward to.
Oh, me too.
Good. Thank you very much for listening.
Bye.
And we will indeed say bye.
Bye. Well, I'm looking for what the scores are, though I think I can predict.
I've not stopped recording yet. Now, right, see you later.
Bye.